Hello, my name is Julie and this is KS Mom Crochets, and today is Crochet Podcast number 68. I finished some little things that I wanted to share with you guys, and the story of how I came to make this is because I was looking on Pinterest, and as you all know, Pinterest can kind of be a rabbit hole, and I seen a couple different pictures of things that inspired this project. So technically, it's not really a pattern that I can share with you all, but I can share like the link to um, the patterns that I used and modified to make this, if that makes sense. So I wanted to make earbud, like something to put your earbuds in, because my daughters take their headphones to school with them, and I thought, well, this would be a good way for them to keep them in their backpack and be able to easily find them, or they won't get broke so easy. So I made two little drawstring bags, and here is the first one. Now this one is for my daughter Caitlin, and then this one is for my daughter Shaylee. So I just think they turned out so cute. So for the little drawstring pouch, it is inspired by the mini pouch by Agnes Chow, and it is a free PDF download from Ravelry. Now her little pouch comes out so much bigger than mine. I did not do as many increases and I did not do as many rows, but I did semi follow her pattern. Like, I used it for inspiration to make this little tiny pouch. I just made it a smaller version, I guess. For the actual pouch itself, I used a 4mm hook, and I used Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton in black. And then for this little clown face, I looked for an applique that was a clown, and I had such a hard time finding one. There was some on there that were kind of cute, but then I don't know, there was just things that I didn't like about them. So I had seen one, a picture of one that somebody had made, but it was like the full body and everything, and it wasn't a pattern. So I went by their picture to try to create my own. So I actually created this whole little clown face all on my own, and I was so proud of myself for being able to do that. It was a lot of frustration, but I think it turned out pretty cute. So I did use quite a few different colors for him. I used a 2.5mm hook because I wanted it to be small enough to fit on this little tiny pouch. I used Hobie Rainbow 84 and number 31, which is the blue, number 3, which is the face, and that is nude, and then number 58, which is the red that you see, and then number 54 is the yellow. And then I used a yarn called Drops Love You 7 that I got from Wool Warehouse a long time ago, and the colors black and white, and then I used 6mm safety eyes. And they were sticking through the back of, like, from the inside of the pouch there. So I took a lighter and melted the backs down and then pushed it down with my lighter, and it kept it from poking through the back. Just a little trick. But obviously my kids are older, so I don't have to worry about them like eating the eyeballs or something if they come off. But she does have her little earbuds in here, and they do fit really well. For the tie here, I just chained as long as I thought that it should be, and then I half double crocheted back with that same yarn that I used on the face, and then I tried to make little stars. It's really blowing out, but she wanted like little stars on the end of hers, or flowers or something, and I had such a hard time. I think that this looks really bad, but she really likes it, so I guess it's okay. And all I did was just threaded it through, because the way that you do I didn't do the top of mine exactly like the lady's pattern, but you do leave spaces, and that allows you to thread the the drawstring through to where that you can drawstring it up. And like I said, it's just a little pouch that can go in their backpack. Now I did, like I said, make Shaylee one. I did the same exact thing on hers, except for I did a fox applique. And for this applique, I actually did follow a pattern, but I sized it down. So like I followed the pattern quite a bit, but not exactly. And for hers, I also used a 4mm hook on the pouch with that Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton and Black. And then for the applique, I used a 2.5mm hook, and I used the Hobie Rainbow number 58 red. But really, this is looking a lot redder on camera than it actually is in real life. Like, I had to really, like, I didn't really even know if this was actually red, but because it has like a kind of like a pinkish undertone, kinda. But what else? I used a 6mm eyes on this, and then I also used that Drops Love You 7 in white and black, and I think it turned out pretty cute. And then I had these little charms right here, and I had made both of their drawstrings like this because I didn't like how Caitlin's was turning out, but she wanted that one instead of one like Shaylee's. But Shaylee's has the little charms on the end, and then she can keep her little earbuds in this too. And like I said, just two quick little small projects that I really did enjoy working on. And I can't believe how good that clown face turned out. Like, I think I did pretty good on that. And I really like the little fox applique too. So, like, you could use this on anything. I've seen quite a few different patterns. Some of them were like squares, you know, and then you just put a little applique on the front. So I was really inspired by the pictures that I seen on Pinterest to make those. Now, on my last podcast, I showed you a bunch of granny squares that I was making. And I don't think I wrote it down. Of course not. I really need to work on my notes. But anyway, I made a bunch of granny squares, and I was inspired by a video that I had watched, and I was not able to find that video. I just cannot remember. It was just like something that popped up, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch that. So I did. But I haven't weaved in any of my ends, but the actual bag is finished. So I used Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton in mulberry and hot orchid to make this. And the mulberry is the dark color, and then the hot orchid is the lighter color. I went through a full skein of both, and then I had to get into a second skein that I had. But this is yarn that I had got on clearance, so I'm not sure if you can get these colors anymore. And I just wanted to go ahead and share it with you all, even though technically it's still kind of a work in progress, because as you can tell, I've got tails everywhere. So what you do is you make 7 squares of each, or like I made 7 of this square, and I made 7 of this square, and then you either sew or crochet. Like I single crocheted a lot of these squares together, and it has this ridge on the front, if you can tell. But you do 4 on this side, 4 on this side, 2 on the bottom, and then 2 on each side. And then once I got them assembled and put together, I just went around the whole entire thing with the granny stitch. So I did 3 rows of granny stitch, and then I went back and did 1 row of single crochet. And then when I got to the middle part, I just did like a little hanging loop, because I wanted it to be I really like using drawstring bags whenever I use a project bag. I don't know why that I prefer a drawstring, but I do. Instead of like a purse style bag, I prefer a drawstring bag. Maybe it's because I can close it up easy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why I like them so much, but I do. So I wanted a little loop because I do hang them off of my crochet cart that I have in the living room. And so I did make this little loop as big as I thought it needed to be. I can actually like get it on my wrist if I wanted it there. It's a little tight, but not, uncomfortable. And then I just chained a big long chain and I think I have double crocheted, or no. I did a foundation double crochet chain is what I did. And then I just kept going. I threaded it through, and then I just kept going until it was as long as I thought that it needed to be. And made this little bag. And like I said, you can't really tell a whole lot about it because my ends are everywhere, which makes it look kind of ugly. But it has actually turned out super duper cute. And it's going to be really cute whenever I get it all finished. My daughter actually said, I love that so much. I want a little backpack. This will be so cute as a little backpack. So you never know. I may end up making her some little straps for a backpack straps and making it into a little backpack. I'm not sure yet. But it was a fun project to do. Weaving in the ends is not going to be so fun. So that's why it's not done. But I really like it, and I like how it turned out. And that's all that I have to share with you all. I'm not going to really show my husband's blanket because I haven't got a lot of progress done on it yet. But I was tagged in a show your hooks tag from K&K Crochet, which is KK and Kristen, and I will have their channel linked below. And they want to see your hooks. Like, what hooks do you use? What hooks do you have? And I have quite a few hooks, but only some of them are hooks that I used regularly. So I have hooks from all the way when I first started crocheting. So I wanted to just go ahead and share that just on this podcast because I didn't really have a lot to show in the podcast anyway. So I'm going to, I'll show you this. So a lot of my hooks stay in this container, and honestly, I have no idea what was in this. I've had this ever since I first started crocheting. I always wanted to make a cover for this. I know Terry over at the Yarn Joy Podcast has like an owl cover for some of her like jars like this, and that was my intentions was to make something like that, and I just never got around to it. So this actually sits in my closet in my bedroom, and these are just extra hooks, no name pretty much hooks, and some of them I've actually I tried to make, I got really into making hooks with polymer clay handles, and that was fun. So I did do that for a while. Now I do have this big hook right here. I think this is a boy hook, and I'm thinking that it's I think it's like a 20 millimeter hook or something. I'm not really sure how big it is, but it's called a speed hook or something. Okay, so I just dropped that and it was really loud. But I used to make blankets, and I used to hate making blankets, and this was my way of first getting into making blankets, as I would make them with 3 strands and they would go by really fast. And then I kind of found my love for making blankets. So I do have the speed, I think it's called a speed hook. And then I also have a 15 millimeter hook that I have used for blankets also. I actually have a blanket that I'm using this on as a long-term whip that I started forever ago that I haven't finished, that is using a 6-weight yarn. So and like I said, these don't have anything on them, so I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure this is a 15 millimeter hook, just plastic. And then I have a light up hook that I wanted to try. I think I got this from Hobby Lobby when they still had their 40% off coupon off one item or whatever, and it is a 4 millimeter hook, and it looks like this. It lights up, and I could use it. I've used this before on darker yarn, but for some reason the light is like super bright on the end there, and it really hurt my eyes because the light was just too bright in one central point instead of like the whole entire thing lighting up. It's like the light is really bright on the top. So I don't use this as much as I thought I would, but I only got one because I wanted to try it out. But it's not a bad hook to have. I did like using it when I did use it. Okay, so I had to get those hooks out because it was really loud in there. So I did have like just a generic set of hooks that I had bought. I think I've lost some of them because I don't think this is all of them, but it's just like the cheap set that you can get from Amazon. Because when I first started crocheting, I bought these metal hooks, and then I also bought a set of these plastic hooks. But I don't like them. And I don't really like the metal hooks either. I also have some smaller like metal hooks, and like I said, these are hooks that I don't really use. Now this one, I do use this one sometimes, and this is a 10mm metal hook. I do actually like this hook, but I have, since I've started like been crocheting longer, I've obviously tried out different hooks, and I prefer ergonomic to metal hooks. But for some reason, in like Clover for instance, they're like anything over like a 6mm hook is not that metal or aluminum or whatever their hooks are made out of, and they're plastic, and I like those hooks, but sometimes I just want to use a metal hook that is a bigger size. So I do have this one, and I do use this one. And when I first started crocheting, I actually fell in love with buoy hooks. I don't think I have any Susan Bates hooks. I don't think I've ever used a Susan Bates hook. I really like buoy style hooks, and I used to buy the Crochet Dude hooks, and I have one somewhere, and I don't know where it's at. I probably have it in a bag somewhere, but they were sold at Michael's, I think. So these are just the hooks that I just kind of started out with. Now I did buy some I bought this polymer hook off of Etsy when I first started crocheting, and this one I think is a 4mm hook, and I have used this quite often, and I really liked having the bigger handle, because like I said, I started out with like metal hooks, and they were just so small and they cramped my hands up. So whenever I found this, I tried to make my own. So I started off, and it's kind of funny actually, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I did make these, but as you can tell, I went up way too far with the clay, so it made them really hard to use. But I did actually figure out that I needed it to be longer, and I made this one as well. So I did play around with that, and I remember I had a light, like a floor, had a floor lamp in my living room at the apartment I used to live in, and I made these, and I would tie yarn and hang them to dry, because I would put that Sculpey glaze on them to make them shiny. But that was a lot of fun to do. And then I also tried to like etch in the sizes and then color them in so you could see it. Yeah, so like I said, I did try that, and if you do like stuff like that, doing stuff like that, it is a lot of fun to make your own hooks and bake them. So let me set these down. Okay, so I did try, I lied. I said I don't have a Susan Bates hook, and I do. I have this one. I had got this one from Joann's. Ooh, I dropped it. I got this one from Joann's. I can't remember what it's called, but I think they still sell these, and it's like a small ergonomic type hook, but I didn't like it at all because I don't like how the top of the hook is. I like the boy because it's more rounded instead of pointy. And I'm no expert on hooks. I just like how a boy hook fits and glides on my yarn better than a Susan Bates, but I know that's a big debate because a lot of people, a lot of people prefer Susan Bates and some people prefer boy style hooks, but like I said, I'm definitely not a Susan Bates girl. So I did try this hook out. Like I said, this is like a hook from Hobby Lobby or Joann's that you get, and I didn't like it very much either. Okay, so I have a set of dots hooks that I got recently, and I have it in this case right here. And here is some of them of my dots hooks, and I do love these hooks a lot. I prefer the smaller sizes in them than I do the bigger sizes because I feel like the weight is different on the like the 6mm is a little bit heavier than my Clover 6mm, so it's hard to get used to that. But I do use the 3mm, like, so anytime that I say that I'm using a 3mm hook, I'm using my dots hook because that is definitely my favorite size in the dots. So I do use these, and I am glad that I got them. They are smooth, not as smooth as a Clover, but I do like that they have the longer handles on the smaller size hooks because I have big hands. And I do have a few, I don't have a complete set of Clover hooks, but I do have like random sizes in Clover, and I do have some of their plastic hooks. This one is an L or an 8. This one is a M, N, or a 9. And then this green one is a 6.5, which is a K. So I do have those hooks, and I do use these. I don't really prefer the plastic tips, honestly, on them. Like, I like the aluminum or the metal or whatever tips better. Like I said, I'm not a hook expert. I'm just showing you what I got. And then I do have some other sizes of hooks, and these actually are hooks that I use or will reach for if I need a specific size. So like I do have a 5mm in a Clover, a 4.5 in a Clover. This is a 2mm in a like no-name off-brand hook, and then this is also a no-name off-brand hook, and this is a 1.75, which I have made, like, used number 10 crochet thread to make bookmarks and stuff. I bought a Clover 1.75 hook, or a small hook like that. I think it was a 1.75, and the tip broke off, and I said, well, I'm not going to spend that much on a small steel like top Clover hook because they're expensive, and if it's gonna break, then I would rather just buy something cheap. Now this is a case that I got from like the Dollar General store, and I do have some hooks in here too. I've got some tacky glue in there, but this is the no-name steel hooks that I got. This is like a wooden handled steel hook that I have because I don't like the metal steel hooks, but because like I said, I do prefer that ergonomic handle. And these work okay, you know. They're not as smooth as like a Clover would be, but they get the job done, and that's all that matters. And then I do have some extra Clovers that I don't use as often. Like I have an extra 2.75 that I was gifted, and then I have a 5.5 Clover that I don't use that size very often, but like I said, I am buying them one at a time as I need them. So I only have like one of each Clover. One time I lost my 6mm Clover hook and I about had a heart attack, but I did try this Clover soft touch hook, which is in a 2mm, and I don't really like the handle on this, but I do have that hook if I want to use it. And then I have another boy in here that is a 2.75. This is when I first started trying to use smaller yarn with a smaller hook, and I wanted to get a cheaper hook and try it out before I invested in a Clover to even see if I enjoyed working with smaller yarn, which I do. So, you know. And then here is another one of those weird plastic hooks. They're actually kind of pretty though. And this one is, I can't even see that. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. This is a 9mm. A 9mm in that, and I can't remember what I was using it on, but I was using it on something. And those all live in here, and they are on my cart. That way, if I need them, I'll have them close by. And then this right here, I did do a whip cart, show your cart, I can't remember, tag where I showed my crochet area and my crochet cart, and this is something that I made, oh, I don't know, years ago. I've had this for forever, and it holds all the hooks that I use all the time. Like, I always, these are the hooks that I use the most, and it also has all my needles. She looks kind of scary with all those needles sticking out of her, but I don't lose them like that. So, but these are the hooks that I use the most. So here's my Dots 3mm hook. I do love this hook so much, and I use it so much. I use it a lot. I have my 6mm Clover, which I use a lot for blankets. I have a 3.75mm hook, which I've been trying real hard to use on amigurumi. I'm trying to size down my hooks on with 4-weight yarn, so I did get down to a 3.75. I do have a 4mm, which I was using on amigurumi a lot until I started using this one. And I use, like, if I want my stitches tighter with a 4-weight yarn, like this granny square bag that I am working on still, or done with, I use this hook on that, and it's a Clover. I have a 2.5 of the Dots in here too, because I have used this one. And then a 3.5 of the Dots, because I have used that one. So like I said, I do like the smaller sizes in the Dots hooks, but I do prefer my Clovers. I have a 3.25 Clover. This one I use a lot on doilies, when I make doilies with what is it, number 3 crochet thread, not number 10, but number 3 crochet thread. I use a 3.25, so that is my doily hook. And then a 2.75 I use a lot on my amigurumis when I use like 2-weight yarn, or even 1-weight yarn, sock yarn. I use that to make amigurumis out of. And then I also have a 2.5 Clover that I use as well on the smaller yarn. So, and like I said, these are the hooks that I use the most. These are the ones that I reach for the most, and those are the ones that are always beside me when I'm crocheting. So I feel like that was a really long video to show you all these hooks. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing the hooks that I use. There are a lot of hooks that I haven't tried that I would really like to. Like, I want to try the Edamo tulip hooks. I've never tried a tulip hook. I really want to try those one day. I do want to continue collecting my Clover hooks. I haven't wrote down what numbers that I have and which ones that I still need. So like I said, I try to get them, you know, whenever I need a size that I don't have. I would like to get duplicates of some of them, because I don't have duplicates of any of those hooks. And if I'm using them on a project, I don't keep my hooks in my project bags. Like, a lot of people will keep their hook with their project, I don't do that. I keep my hooks in this. Unless I'm taking it with me somewhere, then yeah, I would put it in a project bag. But I always keep my hooks in this. Because sometimes I'm working on multiple projects that use the same size and I only have one hook that I use, because I do, like I said, have all those other hooks, and I like to keep those hooks because even though I don't use them as much as, you know, the ones that I have there, um, like I was saying earlier, I did lose my 6mm hook one time. It was in the couch, and I tore my whole living room apart looking for that hook. But I would have had to went and found a similar size, you know. But anyway, that's all that I have for you all. If anyone would like to show your hooks, just use the hashtag show your hooks. I think that's a hashtag. Or just, you know, show us your hooks on your video. Thank you, KK, and Kristen for tagging me in that video. I enjoy talking about it. People don't really show their hooks very often, which is crazy because that's like the main thing. You know, you have to have hooks with your yarn, you know. So it is interesting to see what other people use, because we all have different preferences, and you know, it's interesting to see what other people use and what they prefer to use. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me, and until next time, I will see you in another video. Bye.